This is Jamie and Kylie, and we're with Courageous Beauty, a girls group for conversations about self-worth and healthy relationships.
And this is where we answer questions that we've gotten from our girls group or from other places we've gone and visited, sometimes even through email or from our Curious Cat account, which, by the way, I love getting questions through that form. So link is in the description below. If you have questions you want us to answer, pop it in the anonymous question link there. Today, we're going to talk about
Boundaries.
boundaries.
So boundaries is a really important subject, and it can be really confusing. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about it. Boundaries is a way to protect yourself in letting people in, and some people can confuse it as to being putting up walls and barriers in relationships. And in a sense, that can be true. It's putting up lines that shouldn't be crossed, but it's not cutting people out all the time.
Exactly.
It is more knowing what you can control and knowing what other people control, so that no one ends up controlling you and you don't end up controlling anyone else.
Exactly. In fact, I don't if you guys have ever checked out the book Boundaries, this is where we get a lot of our understanding of what boundaries are. One of the things they like to talk about is that we have physical boundaries in our world. You can think of our bodies. Our skin is a great example of that. Our skin keeps out the things that are harmful and bad, like bacteria and other things that can cause infections and make us sick. But they also allow things to enter us that are good for us. Interestingly enough, our skin can take in oxygen. Our skin can absorb nutrients and minerals from water and from moisturizers and other things that we put on our skin. There are holes in our body that allow things to go in that we need, like air or food or water or whatever it is. So in a similar way, boundaries in our relationships help us to keep the bad things of those relationships out, but also inviting in the things that are good for us. So, I think we're going to talk a lot about this more because there's never enough conversation to be had about boundaries. There's lots of very specific areas that need to be addressed. So, the specific question we wanted to address today was, how do we start to address consequences? Say a boundary has been crossed in a relationship. What is our response? I would say consequence does not equal punishment. So if you are punishing somebody for crossing your boundaries, you are not approaching boundaries correctly. Boundaries are there to prevent other people's negative behaviors from affecting you. So any consequences that are established are put in place so that the behavior doesn't affect you anymore. So what this could look like, let's say, I'm going to use a family relationship. Let's say a mother-daughter relationship for now. Let's say mother has a tendency to, give advice when daughter doesn't want said advice, and it becomes a very frustrating situation where the daughter's just feeling frustrated and irritated, and mom is irritated because it keeps not being addressed, something like that. And let's say said daughter tried to set a boundary and said, Mom, I want to hear advice from you about certain things in my life, but it is overwhelming to me and frustrating when I feel like you're talking down to me. This is how I would like this conversation to go, right? Okay, so this boundary has been put in place and relationship goes on and mom does not respect said boundary. What consequence could daughter put in place? What is the behavior that's causing harm? Overwhelming advice. Okay, how could daughter avoid this? Does she have to cut mom out of her life? No. But perhaps she cannot talk to mom about the things that bring up those frustrating conversations. And it's not to punish mom, but it is to avoid, those conversations that are frustrating and that are affecting this relationship badly. If it's bad enough, perhaps if daughter isn't living at home anymore, she could just not come over as often. But that doesn't mean she's cutting mom out of the relationship. Now, could this have a negative feedback from mom? Yeah, 100% possibly could. But this is within your boundaries because, like Jamie described earlier, this is something within your control. You can choose whether or not you share certain things with your mother. Can you choose whether or not mom talks about these things or gives you advice when you don't want it. Not necessarily, but you can remove yourself from the situation. That is within your bounds. That's within your control. So obviously there's more to be said about this. So if you have more specific questions about boundaries, drop it in the link below Curious Cat account or drop it in the comments. We appreciate you watching our video. You want to end us out?
Like, share, subscribe if you want to, and we'll see you in the next video.
Yay! See you next time.